All right, we're live. We are back. This is Addicts in Recovery, or AIR. We have unfortunate news. We don't have Kevin with us today. He is out of town living the dream, I guess. I don't know. But instead
You're missed, Kevin.
Yes.
Yes.
But instead of Kevin, we have brought Charlie back.
Yeah.
So what's up, Charlie?
I'm chilling, man. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm doing really good. You might have to move a little bit closer.
All right.
Here we go.
There you go.
There's
That's it.
Charlie's
That's
here
mine.
now.
I'm here now.
Yeah. Okay. Today we're gonna talk about change, and nobody likes it. It's hard to deal with, and it's scary. It's like really fucking scary. I mean, I remember when I was in treatment and they told me that I had to change everything but my last name, and the first thing that went through my head, because I'm a smartass, is it's gonna be really hard to go by a different name from now on, right? But it's true. Change is tough, and so I've been thinking about it because I've got a lot of shit that's changing in my life here coming up real quick, and I've been thinking I think it's a great topic that people can benefit from, and so yeah, it's kind of what I'm feeling. So what are you guys? What are you guys thinking?
I like this change concept.
I like it. I think the only thing I wish that I had like preparation before I knew like I was changing. Like somebody could I could go back in time and say, you have some massive changes coming up, and to kind of prepare myself for it. I would have been a little better off, I think. But
Right before I went into treatment,
I don't know, man. I really love the excitement of like one day you're this and the next day you're like, oh, totally different.
yeah,
You know? I don't know.
Isn't there a science? There's I think it's some type of psychology that actually focuses on people who have this thought in their head that they're going to be the same person their entire lives. That's why people get like stupid tattoos, and then they regret it later on because they think that they're going to love that tattoo, or they're going to love that type of music, or they're going to love that activity or whatever it is they do their entire life. And so they permanently will like brand themselves or do something outrageous. And then in reality, they don't realize that they change as they grow older.
Yeah.
And move on from it. But there's a whole I read a study about it one time. It's insane.
Yeah, I have a rule about tattoos in my house, is that you if you really want a tattoo, you figure out what you want, and then you plan it all out, and then you wait 5 years. If you still want that tattoo, you wait 5 more years.
oh, that's funny.
Yeah, my kids don't like it.
See, my wife with tattoos, she's just like, I would get sick of it. I get annoyed with it. And then like there's me, like I've been wearing this ring on my finger, not my wedding ring, but the other ring. I've been wearing this since I was 13.
Yeah.
I got a bracelet on here that I've been wearing since my honeymoon 12 years ago. I've never taken it off. It's just like I get comfortable with whatever.
Yeah, I do that too.
So I'm justifying my tattoos that I have, that I feel like they're a good change to me.
Well, my tattoo is representative of change. Like
Is it Bernie Sanders?
Bernie 2020. This is my shameless plug. Everybody, get out and vote. Bernie 2020.
Global warming.
Yeah, and if he doesn't win the primary, then whatever other Democrat president, we need to fix this earth. No, the last time I was locked up was there's this poem that I kept reading over and over again, and so it just my tattoo represents like that period, so that it stays fresh with me no matter how far away I get from that day. I still remember because it's on me.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll ever get old.
I was thinking about change and how it's really hard to sometimes separate between what is good change and what is bad change, especially when you don't have a choice on the change. You know what I mean? And it's hard. It's really hard because of that fear. I have this fear of the unknown. At least I did for a really long time. It wasn't until I had gone through recovery and worked some steps that I started to kind of embrace change and kind of the unknown. But before that, man, I was so terrified of something changing. Right? Have you ever remember like being in high school and you're with your best bud and you're like, we're gonna stay the same, we're never gonna change. Do you ever talk to that guy anymore?
No.
I don't.
Neither
No.
do I.
He sends me Facebook messages sometimes, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, do I have to respond to this?
It sends me like a LinkedIn thing.
You're almost your 16-year-old self almost signed you up for life to respond to something like that.
I know. Oh man,
Ah, that's-
I occasionally like one of his pictures. I mean, I'll go that far. So,
Or he
you know,
picks your fruit from that fruit game on Facebook. Plants some stuff in your garden.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
no time for that. So you know what this is what I've been like consumed with lately. And I'm by no means Buddhist, but I do love a lot of these core tenets that Buddhism teaches, and it helps me. Like I do a lot of meditation, so it helps me focus in the mornings, and I read a lot of these meditation books that kind of pull from Buddhist tenets. But this concept that we so one of the Four Noble Truths is impermanence, which is basically like we're always changing. Nothing's ever. The only thing constant is change, and the only thing permanent is impermanence, right? And so what happens is we create so much anxiety and stress because we try to hold on to the present moment, but it's always fleeting. It's always constantly changing, and so I really like look at that, like, and I was talking to another dude the other day, and he said something so profound to me, and he said, my issue with having like this amazing time where I'm just like it's like everything is going right. I'm in the moment. Everybody's being cool, and the atmosphere and the setting is perfect. And I get this thought, and I'm like, this is gonna end one day, and I start freaking out, and I start getting like increased anxiety and depression and all that shit that accompanies this feeling of this is going to end, as opposed to being present in the moment and enjoying it for as long as it lasts, and then accepting it when it ends, right? Because I think when we talk about change, we also got to talk about acceptance, right? Because today my level of serenity is directly proportional to my level of acceptance. And so if I can find this place inside of me that where I have a level of acceptance for the change that's going to occur, then I have peace about me, even if it's good change or bad change, and all that stuff. I really don't know if I made any sense right there, but
No,
yeah,
100%. I agree with that, because it kind of like takes the edge off of like the natural anxiety or the fear that you have behind something, of doing it. Like I get that all the time, and I notice it. I see it in my dad. Like Zach and I, before we started this, we were chatting about our dads are very similar people, and I used to go golfing with my dad, and he would be like in this like hurry man mentality, like hit the ball, like hurry, let's go, like we've
my father.
Like we've got to go, like we've got to go somewhere,
man.
like we're late,
Yeah.
And I would
My man's
and,
the same way.
and like eventually like I'd get home and my mom was like, oh, how was golfing with dad? I was just like, fucking sucked. I didn't like golfing with him. He's like he had to hurry somewhere. And also I like see my dad, he's like watching TV sitting on the couch like he had like it was some important meeting or something. But it's like that type of behavior that I recognize in my dad, and I notice that at times I do it to myself, and or with my own kids, where I'm just like, we've got to go, and it just creates like this unbalanced weirdness that I have, and I just like, it's taken me some time to actually like be okay with that and saying, I'm all right if we're a little bit late, or if it's gonna take us a little longer to get someplace. And once I actually start doing that, the level of anxiety is like just goes away, and you're like, this is life. And you start driving down the street and you start noticing things you wouldn't actually notice, and you're more aware, so I don't know, thanks, Dad.
I think the openness, I think you're right, the acceptance, or even just having a level of openness to it, of being able to recognize that shit is going to change and it is going to be different, but it doesn't have to. That doesn't mean that we're going to be miserable, or it doesn't mean. I think a lot of the stuff that bugs me, innately, like in my core, is I'm not going to have enough. I'm not going to have enough of something. So right now I have enough. I have enough of my family, and I have enough friends, and I have enough of everything. But with change also brings loss. And to me, my core is like, I am losing this. So I'm moving to Europe, right? By myself. I'm losing. I'm not losing, but in my, this little kid inside of me is telling me, you're losing your family, you're losing your girlfriend, you're losing all of your friends, you're losing the life that you have, which is really good. This is the first time I've ever moved away from anywhere on good terms with something. Ever. It's like, life is going really good right now. I think I'll move to Europe. Like, who does that? But I have to remember that those good experiences and the good people and the good moments that I have are also going to be over there as well. If I set myself up to have them, right? But I have to be open to accept that change, and that's something that's just been sitting on my mind for a while now. Is like, this is a lot of change, man. How am I going to handle it? Am I going to handle it well? Am I not going to handle it well? I don't know. I've never moved to a foreign country before. I have no fucking clue.
You're going to kill it.
I'm going to
just have to get a different plug, though, for your wall.
I know. Yeah.
Don't forget
adapter.
about those damn plugs.
Yeah.
Like, that's serious. You get over there and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Nobody told me. And then you don't know where to go, and then your phone's dead. And it's just it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
Bring
what
a
would I
plug
do
with
without
you.
Google? Yeah, an adapter.
Yeah.
Those things get expensive though, dude.
Yeah,
some of those
it
are
on
like really expensive.
Amazon.
I found a
Amazon
nice
Prime
one. It was
Day
like
is-
$500.
Amazon Prime Day is in like 2 days.
I know,
think.
it's coming
Is
up.
it really?
Shameless
Oh,
plug,
hell yeah.
Amazon Prime Day.
So our first sponsor is
Jeff
Amazon.
Bezos. He's going to be on the podcast next week.
Yeah, you guys know Jeff? He's a great guy.
So I have a question to kind of maybe we can talk about this, but when someone think about it, maybe in your past that someone said to you like, "Hey Zach, man, you changed," like in a negative way
Oh yeah.
or a positive. I mean,
There.
how do you take that? I'm just like circulating ideas in my head from that, but I just want to put that out there.
I don't know. Would it be like what's the tone people use? Like, are they like,
I think it
dude, you have changed?
Yeah.
Or are they like, oh man, you changed, bro?
Well, see, there's two. Okay. I remember when I left home, like 18 or something like that, and I had this really really close friend, and we did the same, 18-year-old. We're never gonna change. La da da da. We're gonna live. It's gonna be dazed and confused for the rest of our lives. Right. And what had happened was I moved, and it just innately I changed because that's what people do. It wasn't just me; it was him too. I mean, we both just kind of. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was growing up because I didn't grow up until I got into recovery, but. We did change. We changed the different types of music that we like, different people we hang out with, shit like that. And when I met back up with him, maybe, okay, this is really funny. So I moved away for a while, and then I ended up moving into this trailer park.
Of course.
Okay. And I know, okay, which is where I first got addicted to meth.
Oh.
In a trailer park.
No
Yeah,
way.
in my trailer.
I think you're the only
it was.
person that's ever said
It was
that.
I used to call it the crack shack, and I remember my friend he wanted to move out because he was getting in trouble with the law in the town that we were at, and so he tried to move down with me, and he spent I think 2 days maybe, and I remember him going down and thinking, oh yeah, this is great, la da 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 da, and then he was a big pot smoker, and he noticed that. Well, I mean, it's not like he couldn't notice, but me and all of the people that were there that I invited over were always smoking meth instead. And he gave me this look one day, and he said, "There's no way I'm gonna live with you because you've changed, and there's no way I'm gonna live in this house because you're all smoking meth in it." And at the point in time that he told me that, I was offended as fuck.
Yeah, you're
It's like, how dare you be better than me?
Right.
Because I still to this day think the same thing. A drug is a drug is a drug.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, I was like, oh yeah, because you only smoke weed, and I'm smoking harder shit than you are now better than me, right? And so I really had a hard time with that, and I got a lot of that until like when I had friends that found out that I was shooting dope instead of smoking it, or when I had friends find out kind of the lengths that I would go to get shit in comparison to what I used to do. I would get that a lot, and it wasn't until recovery and actually making an effort in my life before people were like in that positive telling, man, you've changed. And it was, I didn't believe them at first. I thought when somebody first told me in a positive way, you've changed, it was a therapist, and I thought, they're just fucking with me. Like, they're just giving me false hope so that I walk out of here with a smile on my face, because they have secondary gain.
Yeah.
There's got to
Right.
be something. I mean, they just want my money, right?
Right.
They want me to walk out happy so that I commit to another 6 months here or something
Right.
like that.
or you're looking at somebody like they're completely judging me.
Yeah. I've
You
got
know.
that all the time. Especially when you're a paranoid tweaker, man, you get that shit
Everybody's
all the time.
judging.
Everybody's judging you.
Judging everywhere.
So I handled it. I started handling it better when it was positive, but beforehand, I would get really mad at the people and almost resentful towards them, because how dare you call me on my shit, when you have all of this shit that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, the reason why I kind of ask is because I'm still fairly young in my sobriety. I got almost 11 months next
God damn.
week.
Dude, that's like a fucking lifetime, bro.
I know.
That's great.
But like I was kind of thinking about this because we've been kind of talking about the idea of change as the topic, and I was kind of going back in some stories and some ideas and of what friends and family were saying to me, and I remember just small little glimpses of people in a negative way saying like, man, Mike, I've noticed like you changed. You're like, man, you're drinking way more than usual. Are you okay? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. Don't judge me.
Yeah. It's the
I'm
job
fine.
or it's the wife.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah.
And I noticed now that I've had some time underneath me, like it's been different where I've actually see people or go to lunch with different people and they're just like, man, like have you lost weight?
Yeah.
And they're saying more like comments like that because they can't figure it out, and because they didn't really know that I was obviously as raging as an alcoholic as I was, but as I start to kind of like talk to them a little bit about it, I'm like, yeah, I don't drink anymore, I don't do this anymore, and they're just like, man, like good for you, like that's some good change. So I don't know, that's why I kind of brought it up because it's so fresh on some stupid shit that I did and seeing the negativity and even my wife's with stuff and family. So I don't know, the positive change is definitely a way better feeling.
Absolutely. And something else I see a lot is when you have people that are close to you. So when you're in addiction, and misery loves company, right? And we spend so much time with these people that are in addiction. And then when we get clean and we start engaging in healthy change, right? Of course, the first thing that somebody who's still unhealthy is going to say is going to be, nah, I'm not going to kick it with you. You've changed,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You're making healthy decisions now. You've changed. And where that sounds like a no-brainer, like, well, yeah, you're still doing the same ridiculous shit, so get away from me. That's not what happens with a lot of people. A lot of people are still resistant to new relationships and this idea we got to change people, places, and things. And so when somebody that they've been kicking it with for the past 10 years sometimes every day, and when you're using drugs or drinking heavily with people every single day, those are trauma experiences that you're having with those people, and like you bond. Those are like trauma bonds, and you're close to those people, and then they're all of a sudden like, nah, I don't want to hang out with you. You've changed, and that hurts. That stings. Even though in your heart it's not healthy. Like you're still unhealthy. I know. I see that. It's not easy to take. So man, it can go any way.
It's hard though, because like especially when you see it through other people. I remember when I was in rehab, we did that I think I've talked about this in the past, but we did a role play where we were trying to like pretend like everyone in the room was like the person's friends or family, and how would you address this situation if one of your friends, you got to rehab and you come and you start talking to them, be like, hey, we miss you. You should come and hang out and come do drugs and drink again with us and stuff, and watching like the person be like, well, I can't like just give up. Those are my really, really close friends. I can't just do that. And like all of us on the outsiders, when we're watching this role play, we're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? You can't hang out with them anymore. You're in rehab right now. You can't figure this out. And like, it created like everyone to get so heated at each other. And like, well, it's not, you put yourself in that situation, and it's tough.
I do that.
It's really hard.
I do that same exercise, but I do it in 2 stages. Mm-hmm. So I do the first one where it's like, you do the, hey man, why don't you come hang out with us, and gauge your reaction to it. And then I take the same people and then I say, okay, new scenario. These people over here, which were originally the drug addict friends, right? I'm like, these people have the super flu and it's Armageddon and everybody's dying, and you don't have the super flu and you're locked in your house, right? And you know that you don't have the super flu, but your people out there do. And they're like knocking on your door and they're like, hey, come hang out. What are you going to do then,
right.
huh? What are you going to do?
Bird box. They're like, I'm getting the shotgun out.
Right. But it's really the same scenario.
It is.
We hang out with those people and it's just utterly dangerous. It could be life or death for us at that moment, and so when I do the 2 scenarios like that, easy to relate.
I just remember, so what I did at that point, I went and pulled my journal out that night, and I was like laying, because I didn't fit on that bed in rehab. I'm too tall. And I just was like, I'd have shitty sleep there. And I started writing down some of what I need to do. I did write down some stuff on how am I going to approach my friends? What am I going to say to them? I took the doctor's advice where he said, if you lay it out to your friends of what your expectations are, and if they don't respect that, then don't hang out with them anymore. Don't talk to them anymore. He's like, they're obviously not your friends at that point. And I literally did that. Like, I got out and I told all my friends, I was like, hey, I've been gone for the last 30 days. I went to rehab. They're like, oh, no shit. And that's why you haven't been answering your phone. And I just kind of laid it out. And the ones that kind of stuck and they respect that, and I'm still, friends with them and doing my thing with them, and the ones that I felt like they weren't right, I kind of distanced myself from them, and did what works for me, because everyone's different, I had to do it though. I'm a very laid out person. I was just like, this is gonna, otherwise I'm gonna catch myself, kind of being in a barbershop and eventually get a haircut.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They say in the a lot of the 12-step programs and things like that, change or die. And that's a really, really heavy threat to a lot of people who play with their lives already. The first time that I heard the saying, I either change or I die, I immediately thought, I bet I could stay the same and live on. Like, I bet I could play this shit.
I'm stronger.
I'm stronger than that. I don't have the problem that you have.
Right.
I mean, I just have a problem sticking a needle in my arm. Like, I can easily turn away a bottle of Jack Daniels.
I'm a recreational heroin.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Okay?
I just have a good time. Staying up for weeks at a time. But that's really the reality of it, man. And it's not even that I intentionally wanted to change who I am. What I wanted was to not be who I was. And
wow.
what I wanted was to stop being miserable. And what I wanted was to find some way to be happy without sticking a goddamn needle in my arm. And that desire led to the change in and of itself. I didn't plan on changing. If you would have told me before I got into treatment that I would be listening to bluegrass music, I would tell you that you're a fucking lunatic. Okay, there's no way I'm gonna be listening to bluegrass music. That's literally the only shit I listen to now. I just listen to bluegrass music. Or if you would have told me that I would be working with people, especially people in a residential treatment center, I would have laughed in your face. And because that was not who I was. That was not me. And just having that willingness to not be who I was before has just kind of led me here, even inadvertently. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even try, I didn't intentionally change. I just, one day I heard a bluegrass song and I was like, wow, that sounds really good. Yeah. I think I might listen to another one. Yeah. Having that open-mindedness, I guess.
Yeah, that's what comes with it.
That open-mindedness, and bluegrass music.
Get that open-mindedness going, and you never know what's gonna happen, right? So I was talking to this dude the other day, and I said, "Why do you want to be here, man? Why do you want to get clean?" And he said, "Man, I just want to stop using drugs. I just don't want to use drugs anymore." And I said, "That's bullshit. Come on, man." He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "You just want to stop having the negative consequences from drugs, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's what I want. That's really what I want." I said, come on, man, let's be real. Drugs can be fun, Drugs can make you feel good. But I like what you just said, and that when we talk about the succession of people in recovery, our initial reaction to getting clean is generally, I just want to change all of this negative stuff, right? I want to stay who I am. I want to still be this person because God knows I'm afraid of who that other guy is. I don't know what that other guy looks like. I don't even know if that other guy will be good at any of that shit that other guy's planning on doing, and that freaks me out. So I'm scared of that. But I do want to change the fact that I'm breaking out handcuffs every other weekend. You know what I mean? I do want to change the fact that I'm spending half my paycheck on the police, on the Brigham Police Department, Perry Police Department, right? and so those are the initial things that we want to change. But then over time, once we kind of get acclimated to the program, we start realizing, like, when we get to stage 2 of recovery, in our individualized stages of recovery, we find that it's not even about I want to be happy inside without having to use that coping mechanism, right? And then it becomes a whole different path. And then we realize that happiness is elusive and that we're never going to always be happy, and that it's super good to be sad sometimes and experience that emotion and honor that emotion for what it is, and more importantly, learn from what that emotion has to offer us, right? And then we go to these different stages, and all the time in recovery, we're like passing through these various stages, and we're just learning so much. And damn it, man, that's why I love this whole process. Yeah.
Well, it kind of blends into more than just addiction, and it blends into a life change. And I remember my therapist, the first thing when he asked me, he goes, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to stop drinking? And I said to him, I just want my life back. That's all I want. I want to be able to have my life back and not feel like I'm claustrophobic, just relying on this. I can't get on a fucking airplane. I can't go and enjoy anything. I just felt like my whole life was completely ripped out from underneath me. I just felt trapped. I was like, I just want my life back. I want to remember those fun stuff, traveling and doing this and being with my family, and that took some time to really have me deep down think about it when I was alone at night, in 30 days of not, I was thinking I could be why am I not laying next to my wife right now and helping her put the kids to bed? Yeah. Why am I not capable of doing that right now?
Ugh, it's the worst feeling.
And it was just it was heartbreaking of thinking what is wrong with me, and how did I get myself here, and why do I want to change, and what do I need to do to change? And it was in those moments of kind of building it slowly, because it definitely doesn't come overnight, and it still is piecing every single day. But I'm starting to feel obviously the positive outweighs that negative, and seeing some of my friends now and some of the stories they're telling me and stuff, I'm just like, oh, I am so happy I'm out of that. You know, I you see some of that shit, but the positive thing that I can take from it, that I'm really loving this change that I've have, is that it adapts into every angle of my life. It's bigger than just the bottle. It's just I can deal with my dad on a work level differently. I can work with my brother differently at the office now, and I can deal with my family in a different way, my children in a different way, and most importantly, it's dealing with myself, and I can see myself on a different way of how I'm being happier, and I'm noticing things in life better, and it starts to I start feeling like I did when I was younger, when I had like zero responsibility, where I'd like go to school in high school and come home, eat some top ramen, and out the door I was out kayaking and enjoying the day, like, and it's really taking advantage of it, and it feels great to kind of to get that back. But man, it's hard to be that honest with yourself of saying like, I'm not okay, and let's make a change.
Yeah.
Did you guys? Here's a good question for you. Did you ever think that you weren't capable of changing?
Absolutely.
100%.
Dude, let me tell you a story. I want to tell a story. So I was living in North Carolina, and I was shooting dope every day. It was just one of the worst stages of my life, right? And so I had these two dogs, and I said, Mom, I need you to come get me. I gotta go to treatment. It's the first time I ever went to treatment. And I went. She came to North Carolina. She picked me up. She drove me back down to Mississippi, and my dad said, "Look, I got this place. I can get you into treatment. It's $1,000 for 30 days. It tells you the level of care I was receiving." And so he said, but you can't detox at my house. I'm not gonna put up with that shit. And he said, this place doesn't detox people. You gotta detox yourself and then come in. And so I said, all right. And so I went to this dude who I used to get high with for years and years and years, a good friend of mine. And I said, hey man, can I detox in your house? And he's still shooting dope every day. And I said, can I detox in your house because I got to go to treatment? And he was like, absolutely, sure. And so I was just on his couch in his living room, shitting liquid every 2 minutes. And I remember he came in, and I was so emotional, and it was just such a rough time. And he said, and I just started just bawling, crying. I was just like uncontrollable. You know? And he was like, dude, what's wrong, man? And I was like, I can't do this. And he was like, I know, you look like shit. And I said, no, it's not physical. Like, I don't know what I'll be clean. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know who that person is. I'm so scared. I can't do it. I physically cannot do that. I don't know how. And it was one of those moments in my life that I still look back on, and I was like, that was so irrational. Hell yeah, you can do it. Anybody can do it. Anybody can change, right? It's inevitable that we will change. Everybody does it, yet we fear it the most, you know? And that moment just always sticks with me.
That's a really good story.
Yeah.
It wasn't ever that I didn't think that I could. Well, there were a few times that I would call people out on not being able to change. I would always fight with my old man about he's never going to change. He's going to be the same dick that has always been this prick. But I was always reluctant to change. Instead, I didn't want to. I didn't think that I had this problem that I needed to change. But there were several times where I didn't think that I was capable of getting through things. So, say for instance, you know how they say, get through the craving, or you're gonna have this craving, and it's gonna be really bad, and it's gonna take a while to get through, but that'll change.
Right.
I was always reluctant to that shit. Like, it's never gonna change. It's not gonna go away. I'm gonna be jonesing the rest of my life. I will have this roll in my stomach just the rest of my life, looking at shit, just wanting to, take any hit of anything that I possibly can, and that's just never going to go away. And then we'll go away for a little while, and I would just totally discredit that. And then what happened is it come back and be like, see, I fucking told you guys, it's never going to fucking change. And I would get so caught up, and then my anxiety would go through the roof because nothing was, I mean, in the immediate moment, nothing was working, and it just turned into this mayhem. And in reality, it was that change is slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, sometimes I can't force the changes that happen. Sometimes I just have to kind of ride out whatever it is. And the capability of it, I think anybody is capable of getting through like withdrawals, and anybody is capable of getting through a craving, and anybody is capable, and people are capable of getting past those points. I still get cravings. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, every once in a while, like I'll see somebody drinking and it's terrible. It's like a Bud Light or something like that. This is the worst beer ever. Oh no, I spent a weekend on a river, and in Idaho, and for some reason the national drink of Idaho is Keystone. Yeah.
I was
What
gonna say
the
that.
fuck? Like, so I still get those moments, but I have, because of this program and because of what I've done, I have changed to where now it's just, I mean, those things are like 10 seconds, you know. If that, it's like, oh, that looks okay. That's Keystone Light. Never mind. You know what I mean? But I'm still. I love the change. How you saying it adapts, right? So, early on, I was super reluctant to it, and then partway through it, it really wasn't. I didn't know if I could or not, or if I was capable of getting through the really shitty stuff, and then I would move to school, right? I don't know if I can go to school. That's a huge change. Am I teachable? Like, I have no idea if I'm teachable.
Can I read?
Can I read? There was one time. Everybody has this too, especially when they get into like a 12-step meeting, and then they, you know, somebody volunteers them to read, and they read for the first time after being spun out for God knows how long. We do recover.
The best is the different pronunciations of ananimity.
Oh,
That's the
anonymity is
absolute
so good.
best.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
Yeah. There was one day that I was at a study meeting, and I was so mad that I couldn't read that I read an entire chapter in that goddamn study meeting. And it was really bad. But was I capable of learning? I don't even know. Was that something that I wanted to do? You know what I mean? That's a huge fucking change. That's a huge step for growth. Am I wanting an education? And then that changed, right? So it went from wondering if I could stay sober to wonder if I can get an education. And then it grew from wonder if I can get an education to wonder if I can get a bachelor's degree because I just picked up an associate's. And then it grew from that to another thing. And the change just progresses, and it's always going, and it's always creating these different avenues and these different directions, right? And I think I almost take it for granted sometimes that without the change that has happened, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
If I wasn't willing to accept those changes, then I wouldn't be the person that I am. I wouldn't be sitting here, right?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be helping people, you know, with their lives. I wouldn't. Well, I'm not really doing that much right now. I should probably do a little more service. But I wouldn't. Well, this is service, I guess. But I wouldn't have the happiness that I have, or the peace of mind that I have, and so when I come up now to this huge change, I'm going to Europe, and I am leaving my family, and I'm going to a country that they do speak English, but it's like a really fucked up version of English.
It's not really English.
It's
something else.
It'll take you a minute to.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. There's all the nuances, I guess, but the reluctance that I had to change is dramatically decreasing, because I know that no matter where I'm at, no matter where I end up, I'm still gonna be okay as long as I do what I'm supposed to do, which is take one step at a time, right? One foot forward. As long as I don't get fucked up, I can do anything. The world could come to a goddamn end, and as long as I don't get fucked up, I'll be all right.
Well, the
it's
thing,
been
the thing that comes to mind is that I like the word willing a lot, and like we're willing to be in recovery. We're willing to make that effort, that jump off the cliff to do it. And I was reading the statistic the other day about how many people are honestly like unhappy in their careers, and it was like 80-something% of people. They're just like,
I just
stuck
threw up
in
in
it.
my mouth a little bit.
oh god.
Just
I
saying
can't
like
even imagine.
just saying like people that are not, that they're just like this level of like they're just content with whatever, and they don't want to change, which is fine if they don't want to.
I don't know if that's
they wanna-
content or complacent.
I don't know.
Complacence. And that's what I was about to say. So like when you say the reason I was open to all of these various changes in my life, and that's why I am where I am today. And what drives me absolutely bonkers is these people that get into recovery and they're like, oh, well, yeah, another day clean. Oh, yeah, ooh, muzzle through. Really nothing else going on. And it's because they're not like growing. They're not
Right.
growing. And if they're not growing, they're dying. Everything's always in a constant state of fluctuation. So if you're not growing, you're dying in some way. And so when you're doing what you're talking about doing, you're implementing these goals and these incremental goals that get you to the bigger goals, and then you're starting to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and you remain open to that process, right? So man, that to me is what recovery is all about. It's not about this, oh, I'm just sober today. Sober is the baseline, right? Sober is the very bare minimum of what I can be and do today. Like I want to get the next degree, right? I want to go see the next place. I want to ride the next trail. I want to kayak the next river, and that's what recovery offers.
Well, it reminds me when I think Tuesdays, Thursdays, and when I was in rehab, they did yoga. This lady comes in and you do yoga. And there was this one kid that was in rehab with me, and I was just like, "You gonna come do yoga?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Well, why not?" And he's like, "I just don't do yoga." I'm just like, "Well, why not just try it? Like, we're here." Like what is it?
What else are you
like
gonna do?
what is it? Why not? And he's just like, well, I guess so. And it's that type of mindset. It's like, why not?
I used to be that way.
Go.
I used to be just like that.
I'm
yeah.
here. Let's do this shit. Like I'm ingrained in that. That's like my attitude, and it's I've always jumped at that. Or if something's in front of me, I'm like, let's go do it.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I used to be just like that. Somebody's like, let's go do this. I'm like, nah. I'm way too cool for that shit. I'm way too cool for that shit. I remember growing up, at like 12 years old, if that, all of my cousins who were my same age would all be doing all of these, 12-year-old things. Right. And then I'd be up on this like corner watching them, just judging them. I'm way too cool for that. And they're all having like the time of their lives. And I'm just like miserable as shit sitting on the...
Horrible, dude. Think about how much of life you missed out on.
Exactly.
Right? Like even when you...
Exactly. Just not being open to... Yeah.
I'm all about like Mike's like style of life. Like I'll give it a shot and at least I know that that's not for me. Having tried it, you know what I mean? What is it? Prosecution without. What's the expression I'm trying to say?
It's basically not giving a fuck.
Assignment of guilt without investigation.
Right.
Prosecution without investigation
or something like that.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. But yeah, man, I don't ever want to be that guy. I always want to be like, well, yeah, I tried that once and it didn't really work for me, and so I'm probably not going to engage in that again. But I've got so many things that I ended up just doing on a whim that somebody was like, try it. I'm like, this doesn't sound real cool, but I'll give it a shot. And I've done so many of those things that I've just absolutely fallen in love with. Yoga is one of them. Like yoga was one of those things where I was single, and they were like, dude, that's where the girls are. And I'm like, I am not doing that shit. That is not for me. I got there, and yoga is one of my absolute all-time favorite activities to like really get right in my head, and I'd have never known that if I wouldn't have given it a shot.
Yeah. My wife, she's still, and So my grandma and grandpa on my dad's side, they were professional ballroom dancers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they used to travel around and teach people. My grandpa was like 6'2", and my grandma was 5 foot tall. And he would just whip her around, and like they had a dance floor in their basement, you know. So my grandma was always grabbing us, and you know, Michael, come dance with me. And so my wife, like, she found that out, and she's like, let's do that. Let's go do some ballroom dancing. I'm just like, and I had that level of like, I am too cool for ballroom dancing.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
Ballroom
Yeah,
dancing.
It's a lot of fun.
So I think I need to. My plan is that I'm trying to figure out to do it with my wife now. 'Cause after the baby's a little bit bigger now, I want to surprise her. She's probably gonna hear this and be like, "Oh, great! Now you really are gonna be doing it with me." But
Dude, me and Jen will do that shit with you. So there was
should.
the last place I worked. There was professional ballroom dancers, and they were the head people in charge. And it was it was an older guy and his wife that he'd been married to for like 40 years, and they were the same way. You know, like that was their thing. And I was like, oh, that's completely cheesy. But we kept doing all these fundraisers through the department, and they always do these dance things for fundraisers. And then I'd get out there and start doing a little bit. I'm like, this is a really good time. Like, I'm horrible at it.
Stepping
It's a
on
lot of
toes
fun, you know?
It's funny that the reluctance of to change and to step out of the shell. You don't realize. At least I didn't realize, like, those are all the people having fun.
Yeah. Amen, dude.
Those are all of the people that are having a good time, and here I am too reluctant to be that person that's like, you know what, fine, I'll step out of my comfort zone, I'll do something that I'm not familiar with, I'll potentially make a fool out of myself, I will change my view and I will change my process so to take a chance, just literally just to take a chance.
Yeah.
And by not doing that, I end up just in my head, and I end up just judging these people, and then I think that these guys are all a bunch of idiots because, you know, look at them, make them fools out of themselves when they're all having the best time.
Amen.
And I'm sitting up against the wall. It's like the people that are. It's like the high school dance, you know, where there's the one group of people that are dancing, and then everybody else is up against the walls judging them.
Right,
Who the
like,
fuck is having the
look
good
at them.
time?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of dancing, like that that was one of the most difficult things. So I used to tour this band, Widespread Panic. I used to tour them and go and just I was just dance. I used to go to all these crazy shows, just all hippie shit and just rock and roll. And I was constantly at a festival, constantly at a concert of some sort, you know. And I was just always dancing, and I was always like, I was the guy that was just taking as many drugs as possible and just dancing for days on end. And so I get sober, and I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to do that.
like I lost all my moves.
Well, it's not even about the moves. I'm gonna be self-conscious.
Yeah,
I
I lost my mojo.
Yeah, all these people are gonna be staring at me, you know. And I remember I went to this first festival, and it was in Florida, and I was camping. It was 3 or 4 days, and I was probably like 6 months sober, and I was with another dude that was sober, and I was just so concerned about that. And I got there, and I just started kind of dancing a little bit. And I was like, "Oh God, this is awkward. Like, I know what I'm doing, you know." And then it just kind of gradually like flowed and started coming back to me. And it was because I'm a horrible dancer, but it wasn't about like the moves. It was more of the emotion in that accompanied that having fun, that freedom, you know what I mean? And once that overrode this feeling like people are watching me, oh, this is awkward shit. I had the same thing that I had when I was all fucked up doing it. I had the same thing in sobriety. And I say this because I was thinking about this last night. We went to a concert last night, went to the David Brothers last night, and we were there with this friend of ours who's early in recovery. He's got 69 days.
Yeah.
I was like,
70
you need
today.
to go 70 today. But I was like, you need to go tell a girl it's your 69th birthday and see if you can take her home. But anyway, so he was there, and he, you know, he's a dancer, and he's a musician. Like, he is a musician. He's a very talented musician. So music is part of his soul, you know? And I think music is part of all of our souls. But especially him. And I'm watching him, and you could tell he was awkward. And he was at that point that I was at in Florida so many years ago, where I'm like, oh, people are going to stare at me, you know? And I was like, oh, man, I just want to guide you. I just want to pull
Right.
you and teach you this lesson. But it's just one of those things you just got to figure out for yourself, you know?
But like, why is it like us humans are just so like we just literally just beat the living shit out of each other, and ourselves. Like
It's really
struggle.
ourselves
It's
more than anything. I
ourselves.
mean,
Yeah,
I'll
no,
sit
I
and
agree.
judge somebody, you know, inadvertently, but like not nearly as bad as I'll tear myself apart.
Absolutely.
It's hard though. Like I sit there and just pick myself apart. I'm just like I can't do that. I can't do that. And you know, I don't know.
What I always ask people, I'm like, would you treat somebody else that way?
Depends on how much I hated them.
Yeah.
I want you to think about, honestly, like the way you just pick yourself apart. Would you just do that to somebody else?
See, I used to be when I was unhappy as a person.
Yeah.
I noticed myself doing it even more.
Absolutely.
yeah.
You know, and now that like, so for example, my wife and our son, he graduated from this little kind of this program where he does online to learn how to read.
Oh, nice.
And so we were downtown Salt Lake, really close to Rio Grande, you know, right where every drug capital Salt Lake is, right there. And we were at this hotel, and I walked across the street, and this lady passed me, and you could tell she had something going on, you know, mentally, where she's
Right.
repeating herself kind of in a schizophrenic mindset. And I said hi to her, and I kind of walked on. I was like, man, you know, I said hi to her. At least I did that. You know, I tried, and I was like, I continued on. Then I see my wife drive around in her car, and she like waves the lady to go in front of the car, like, go. You know, and the lady just looks at my wife and is like, fuck you bitch. Starts like screaming at her, and then my wife like turns around and she was all pissed. She's like, she rolls her window down and starts yelling at her too. and I'm like, and I was like, wow, I really just saw that. And then my wife came and she's like, I can't believe that lady. And I just like looked at my wife. I was all, that lady's clearly struggling with some stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And then my wife was like, man, you know, you're right. Like, why are we so mean to each other? Like, why did I just judge the living shit out of this person? And it's like, I'm slowly trying to, you know, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal or something, but I definitely have been more aware of things like that now, where I'm like hypersensitive to, you know, that everyone matters. You know, that person, man, I can't imagine what I'd feel like to be wandering around a park talking to yourself and being in that mindset. And I was just like,
Not even in reality.
yeah.
Well, I
so-
guess they are in their reality.
So to answer your question, I feel like it's getting better. I feel like I'm trying to see other people's sides a little more and be able to respect it. And if it's some view of how they're thinking, I can't judge them for that, you know, because I clearly know they're probably judging living shit out of me on what I'm doing, and I'm okay with that. You know, I'm like, I don't care.
What is it? What's the saying? It says, what other people think of me is none of my business.
Yeah, right.
I love that shit.
That's a really good line. That's a really good line. All right, so we're about running out of time. For people that are listening, what do you guys have like advice on handling change, accepting change? What do you got, Charlie?
Accepting change is accept it as inevitable. Try not to fight it. So I think the best advice I can give is to treat our minds and our bodies like a vessel, right? And we have things that flow in. We need to honor whatever that is, whatever that emotion is. We need to honor it while it's there, and then we need to let it pass. And when we can change our mindset to view all things that way, and we can turn our body physically into a vessel and do that, we become less resistant to change, and then ultimately we become happier people. That's my take on it.
I like that.
What you got, Mike?
You know, I think you need to ask yourself why you want to change. You know, I think like I ask myself why so much during the day, every single day. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why do I want to do that? And as soon as I can actually kind of have these like conversations with myself of thinking, is this the best path for me, or don't do that again or do this more, I feel like it creates me to become a stronger person. And I that's my advice to people, is to ask yourself, if you don't want to change, you don't have to. People can tell you you should, and you'll never listen to them until it really has to come from yourself. And if you want that change, I think you need to dig deep into yourself and ask yourself why you want it. And that's what's really, it has helped me out, and it's created just a very simple process of it to what I want and why I want it. It's working. So
The last thing that I'm going to add on to it is I always was afraid of what was around the corner. I was always afraid of the changing of the... we've got dishes going on in the background. I was always afraid of changing, and I was always afraid of the unknown. And I would say my number one word of advice would be stop being afraid of it. Change is gonna happen. Change is gonna come. Inevitably, stop running from it, because that's what I had. That's what I did for so long. Is I was run from it, and so. I appreciate you guys talking about change with me today.
Yeah,
That was definitely a topic
it.
that was on my mind today. So, and because it's coming, man. It's coming.
Yeah.
Well,
Embrace
it's here.
it.
It's not even coming. It's
Embrace
here.
it.
It changes all the time, bro. But yeah, so check us out on Instagram. Insta Mike is in the house, and he is a professional. You can find us on iTunes. He's Insta Mike. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud for now. But we're gonna up our game.
Right on.
We're gonna be at like every platform ever.
Amen.
And so we got to get Charlie's voice out there, So
yeah, keep checking in, and we got some more fun stuff coming through the summer, and some fun guests that we're sent some invites out. It should be kind of interesting talking about different angles of sobriety and addiction and stuff. So we got some good stuff coming up.
hell yeah! All right,
We
we're
won't
out of here.
stop.
Yeah, at least if somebody's listening, then we're definitely not going to stop.
Yeah.
So people keep listening for some reason. All right, guys. So we are out of here. Until next time.